Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality back with you here today to go over an article I saw on PJ Media when it was stated April 18th. And I know it seems like the Democrats seem to have a near monopoly on the stupidest people in Congress, so we're going to go over one of them today. You can see the name right there on the screen. And this headline here is not why he's necessarily one of the stupidest people, but they seem to have a real monopoly on the dumbest people in Congress. I think Mazie Hirono, Eric Swalwell. I wouldn't say Adam Schiff. I'd just say that dude's evil. But Hank Johnson is another one. Oh, I should say Ted Lieu also. Have all said there's just insanely stupid things at times that are easily disproven. Go look up what Ted Lieu did about saying or showing like a picture of a fetus at 9 weeks. It's not a fetus because the man is not smart. Anyway, here we have an article from BJ Media from Hank Johnson calling parents of the crime victims MAGA props for slamming DA Bragg. I'm going to read that again because for some reason when I just read it now, it seems like that headline didn't make sense. Hank Johnson calls parents of crime victims. Okay, there we go. MAGA props for slamming DA Bragg. I got it now. I am so smart. I was just talking about how these guys aren't smart, and here I am just screwing up a very easy sentence. Anyway, so here's Hank Johnson, and you'll see very soon why this man is not very smart. So what you'll see is the background to this particular article, and I'm sure this is going to go over. It's going to be gone over in this article. But, you know, as we all know, President Trump had his thing in New York that he's being politically prosecuted for by Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney. And Jim Jordan, who is the chairperson of the, I want to say the Judiciary Committee in the House, decided to investigate Alvin Bragg and kind of wanted to put a focus on the victims of Alvin Bragg's extremely soft on crime policies and how they've essentially made New York a shithole at this point. And I guess we can use what Donald Trump called certain countries. They're shitholes. Okay, we'll use that here. Not editing that cough out. Anyway, so here we go, and I see the word here that's going to tip you off about how smart Hank Johnson is, and we'll still go into the article. It says, the ever-brilliant and empathetic Hank Johnson, Democrat of Georgia, is apparently a lot less worried about violent crime than he was once about Guam tipping over from too many people. Yes, that is a thing he actually said. He thought Guam, an island, was going to tip over because too many people were on it. This is the kind of intellect we're dealing with here, people. Article continues. During a House field hearing on April 17th, Johnson called grieving parents of New York's violent crime victims props in a MAGA Broadway production after they slammed Democrat DA Bragg for a soft on crime policy. So what I just didn't mention as I was going over a summary of why Hank Johnson is here and why we're going with this article is that, so Jim Jordan was investigating Alvin Bragg. He had the victims show up. I said that, but then the victims actually got the testify, or I should say the victims, but the victims' families, the survivors, got to testify about what happened to their family member that was killed, basically. Because Alvin Bragg has decided that, hey, if you're going to go and, you know, do something really bad, we're going to basically give you a slap on the wrist and just like an IOU and say, move along now, get on with your life. So here's a Hank Johnson thing saying that Republicans concerned with violent crime in New York City are jackbooted thugs. Yes, because the people concerned with the crime are jackbooted thugs, not the people doing it. The people concerned about it, okay? And says the witnesses, including police officers, victims, and victims' families, are props in a MAGA Broadway production. So if there's anything that tells you right now is the Democrats do not care, even the slightest bit, about crime, ta-da! I give you Hank Johnson, who should be the poster boy for this. And again, remember, this is the guy that thought Guam, an island, was going to tip over from too many people. Just keep that in mind the entire time here. Okay, because again, this is the level of intellect we're dealing with. So it says Johnson's tone-deaf, oh, yes it was, and blatantly partisan comments, that too, came after witnesses told the Congressional Committee about the violent crime plaguing New York and how Soros-tied Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg often refuses to hold the criminals accountable. In typical, it says not if typical Democrat fashion, in typical Democrat fashion, Johnson went after the victims, oops, I clicked on something. If typical I see it, I just misread it. In typical Democrat fashion, Johnson went after the victims instead of the victimizers. Instead of criticizing the criminals or Bragg, he actually compared Republicans highlighting the crimes to violent criminals themselves. Yes, because that makes total sense, you moron. So he says Republicans, like jackbooted thugs, Johnson accused, have descended on New York City using violent crime as their pretext. Do you have any, even the slightest bit of evidence to back that up? No, of course you don't. I mean, that's a rhetorical question. I know you don't. So he continues, says the MAGA Republican extremists, are not interested in gun violence or even knife violence. We're concerned that it's being done, not doing it. There's a lot more coarse words I'd like to use, like the F word right now. Forking moron, like go all Johnny Dangerously swear word on this guy. Thank you for your lecture, Rep. Johnson, but it's the Democrats who keep releasing murderers back on the streets. That is correct. Furthermore, considering that over 90% of mass shootings occur in gun-free zones, also correct. Democrats' gun control wouldn't solve the problem either. Correct. So we're full of facts here today. But Johnson went a step further, directly insulting the witnesses, including those with dead or severely injured children. All right, well, I guess there's a special place in hell for this guy. It says the Republican witnesses who have used their time to criticize District Attorney Bragg have served as props in a MAGA Broadway production. Understandably, his comment drew angry cries from the audience, causing a temporary suspension of the hearing. Good. I hope they did say something to him, because that's just a... My God, that's just... to call it tone deaf is insulting tone deaf. I mean, Jesus. It says there's really no depth with Johnson won't sink. Certainly seems like that. It says, speaking of sinking, here's the quote again. Johnson was famously, or infamously, worried that the island of Guam would have so many people on it that it would tip over into the ocean and capsize. Yes, really. Well, Mr. Johnson, do you think the island is just sitting there and there's absolutely nothing whatsoever beneath it? Do you know how islands work? I'm guessing the answer is no, you don't? And then my question then is, why are you in Congress? If you don't know, like, just basic things like that? I mean, it's... Okay, I'm just going to move on here. I'm losing brain cells thinking about it. Anyway, Fox News broadcast clips of multiple witnesses at the hearing, the same witnesses Johnson called props for Republicans. One man talked about the violent assault on his son, and as Fox showed a picture of the badly injured young man, the father said, "It was hard to believe what my son looked like. His face was beaten. It was an open and shut case. And DA Bragg is just schlepping his case along with no solution, offering deal after deal." A mother talked about the killing of her son. Bragg completely dismissed, gang assault and murder indictments against two of the defendants clearly on video participating in the brutal, savage slaughter of my son, the mother exclaimed. The young man was black, but Democrats only seem to think Black Lives Matter when it serves their political ends. Yep, couldn't be further from the truth, and that's just awful. And it says, Rep. Johnson should apologize profusely for his comments. He is a heartless political shill. Yep, yeah, he shouldn't just apologize profusely. He should be censured for that. I know that he wasn't the only one in this that were making comments like that. The new dude from New York, the guy that's like the most privileged human being alive. Was it Goldman, the guy that led the first impeachment of Trump? Yeah, he made some comments too that were absolutely disgusting, and he got actually shot down by one of the victim's mothers, thankfully, and you could find that somewhere, and I suggest going to look that up. And we say these guys, get shouted down, and they don't give it a second thought. They hear about what they don't even think about what they're saying. Okay, it's purely politics for this guy. This is heartless. His comments are heartless, uncompassionate. They're just, frankly, they're evil. This is a bad person here, okay? And never mind the fact that he thinks Guam is going to tip over, which is just beyond the realm of stupidity, so much so that the amount of times I said that right now means I probably lost that many brain cells times 100 because it's that dumb of a thing to say. But I mean, come on, man. There are people out there in all these cities, this isn't just New York, getting murdered, and the DAs are just like, nah, we're going to let you go. Oh, but they're on tape. Yeah, whatever. Oh, we have someone that could testify that was that person. Nah, let them out. Okay. And I've said it before in other videos, these Soros DAs need to be removed from office. Okay, vote them out. Okay, or if you are lucky enough to get a governor in and there that's willing to do that, see if they can get them out. Legally, of course. All legally. Got to do it by the book. Okay. So, what do you think about Hank Johnson's comments here? What do you think about Guam tipping over into the ocean? Oh, God, the brain cells are lowering. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you soon, assuming I still have brain cells. Bye.